At the turn of the 20th century, Edwin Nathaniel Horston was a poet who had been working for the H.J. Heinz Company in Pittsburgh. In order to distribute his poetry, he began printing a paper that would eventually grow into the Pittsburgh Courier, a leading weekly African-American newspaper in the United States.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a city rich with Black history, present and future. Honoring this history during Black History Month is a fight to bring Black history to the forefront of classrooms and cultures.
Despite the notable achievements of African-American Pittsburghers, their accomplishments are not often lauded as they should be. Today we seek to bring these efforts to you.
The Pittsburgh Courier published cartoons and comic strips, some of which were by Jackie Orms, known as the first African-American woman cartoonist to reach popular acclaim.
Orms was born in Pittsburgh in 1911 and lived in the area throughout her youth and early adulthood until she moved to Chicago.
Orms contributed to the Pittsburgh Courier as a journalist and proofreader. She later got into cartooning. Some of her notable works include
Torchy Brown and Dixie to Harlem, which was her first comic strip to be published, Candy, Patty, Joe and Ginger, and Torchy and Heartbeats.
Orms did not stray away from controversial themes in her work, publishing distinctly leftist works in the McCarthyism era.
She would be targeted and investigated by the FBI due to the rising tensions during the Cold War. However, this did not stop Orms from expressing her views.
Political dissidence in the face of hardship has been a common theme among Pittsburghers. For example, Reverend Leroy Patrick was an activist and minister who worked in the city. One of his most notable achievements was his work advocating for the desegregation of Pittsburgh public schools in the 50s.
Though he was originally born in South Carolina and raised in Philadelphia, Reverend Patrick became involved in the Pittsburgh community by joining several civil rights organizations as well as the Pittsburgh Public School Board. He was the chairman of the Allegheny County Council on Civil Rights
and was a member of the Pittsburgh Public NAACP. He was also involved in the Allegheny County Committee for Fair Housing Practices.
Another activist with his roots in Pittsburgh is Salah Uddin. Salah Uddin is a political activist and is currently the president of the Pittsburgh Public School Board. Born with the name Samuel House, he grew up in the Hill District where parents relocated during the Great Migration.
As a young man, Uddin joined the Freedom Riders and began to get involved in activism in the Black Power movement. Uddin is not just an activist, however. He has also influenced art and culture in the city of Pittsburgh, co-founding the Central Avenue Poets Theater Workshop with notable Pittsburgh playwrights August Wilson and Rob Penny. Uddin's cultural work even saw his publication in the Pittsburgh Courier through his articles entitled African View.
Uddin's work focuses on community development and not only on the cultural front, but also on the civil front. He has served on the city council and worked with civil rights committees. On December 6, 2021, Salah Uddin was sworn in as the 2022 president of the Pittsburgh Public School Board.
Salah Uddin is one of the many Pittsburghers who have combined art with activism. Also an educator, Mary Cardwell Dawson was born in North Carolina but moved to Pittsburgh in her adulthood where she established the Cardwell Dawson School of Music. The school remained open from 1927 to 1941 and instructed hundreds of students.
Dawson had aspirations beyond just Pittsburgh, however. In 1941, Dawson launched the National Negro Opera Company with a performance at the city's Syria Mosque. The National Negro Opera Company would spearhead productions in the cities of Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. Dawson is credited with bringing opera to Black audiences.
All of the figures mentioned thus far contributed in some way to increasing the visibility of Black culture and the civil rights movement.
Charles Teeny Harris was a Pittsburgh photographer who captured the African-American community in his photographs.
Pittsburgh Courier published his chronicling of Black neighborhoods in the city spanning from 1936 to 1975. Though he produced over 80,000 photos in his career, Harris's work was not well known outside of Pittsburgh until his death.
The Carnegie Museum of Art now holds these photos, some of which are on permanent display in an exhibit called In Sharp Focus, Charles Teeny Harris. Harris's talent and fame made him a respected community member in the city of Pittsburgh.
In a city and country that derives so much of its history from the Black experience, we shouldn't just allot a month to discuss Black history. Given its role in our culture, Black history should be engaged during our everyday education, whether that education occurs in school or out in the world.
However, the reality is that efforts have been made to erase Black history from our consciousness. While the dominant culture attempts to resist true history, we must embrace it. Black History Month serves as a reminder that Black history must be taught, but it is our duty to go beyond the month.
How do we uncover what's been covered? How do we go beyond the classroom to learn unconventional history? And how do we celebrate and uplift Black voices, as well as all others who face having their voices go unheard? These are the questions we must ask ourselves.
And we can't get caught up in just the month.
Black history is history.
and deserves a place in all classrooms and histories.